This PowerPoint is from Chapter 10. It is on the concept of reducing aggression. We looked at another PowerPoint on how aggression, where it comes from, how it's created. But now let's look at how to reduce it, which is probably the most important thing, knowing how to reduce it. And I love this quote. I've always loved it. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. So let's define aggression. I know we've defined it in several different PowerPoints, but let's remind ourselves of what it means. Aggression is physical or verbal behavior intended to cause harm. So let's get right into how do we reduce aggression. There's this idea of catharsis, which is a powerful release that can be a tool for processing your emotions and alleviating psychological distress. When we experience stress, anxiety, fear, anger, and trauma, intense and complex feelings build over time. At a certain point, the emotion and turmoil can become almost overwhelming. People may feel they will explode unless they can release this pent-up emotion. Because we don't want to blow up or vent these emotions in inappropriate ways, we have to find some other way to release them and achieve catharsis. Some healthy ways to do that might include engaging in physical activity, exercising, talking to a friend or family member, or doing other stress-relieving activities. So catharsis is a way to essentially release those pent-up emotions. There are unhealthy ways to release emotions. That would be like yelling at someone or hitting a wall, vandalizing property. But there are very healthy ways, as we just discussed, to reduce catharsis or create catharsis. Exercising, I think, is one of those big ways because we know that exercise creates those feel-good chemicals in our body. So, great way to reduce aggression. However, there's a however, as you've learned from your text, activities such as playing violent video games and watching violent TV shows seem to increase aggression instead of being cathartic experiences. So some had the idea that this could release that violence, this could release that aggression by playing these violent video games. But research has shown that it doesn't. It actually increases violence. So another way to reduce aggression is punishment. Threatened punishment can deter aggression, but only under ideal conditions. When the punishment is strong, prompt, and sure, when it is combined with a reward for the desired behavior, and when the recipient is not angry. Generally, punishment for children who engage in aggressive behavior should focus not on physical punishment, such as spanking or paddling, which obviously is an aggressive behavior and could teach more aggression, but instead on strategies such as taking away privileges, such as taking away a video game or taking away TV for a certain period of time. So there's punishment, an idea that can reduce aggressiveness, but I think you have to walk a fine line with punishment because you don't want to use aggressiveness as spanking to reduce aggressiveness. That's not going to work. Prevention. It seems that the best way to reduce aggression is to simply prevent it from happening. So how do we do this? We can teach problem-solving skills, perhaps in schools, emotion control strategies, and conflict resolution techniques, and focus on programs that teach empathy. Also in schools, you can have peer mediation and anti-bullying training. And as a parent or any caregiver, model and reward sensitivity and cooperation from an early age, perhaps by training parents how to discipline without violence and favoring rewards instead of punishments. So those are ways that we can simply prevent aggression. And as you see, most of those are focused on going ahead and preventing it in children. So in the school, as parents, as caregivers, as responsible adults, we need to work to just simply prevent the aggression from happening. Reduce brutal, dehumanizing portrayals in media. steps comparable to those already taken to reduce racist and sexist portrayals. We can also inoculate children against the effects of media violence. And we discussed that a bit previously, that we can teach children that media can create aggression and it can create violence. So we need to inoculate children against that. Another quote I really like to close us on is, "Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of creative alternatives for responding to conflict, alternatives to passive or aggressive responses, alternatives to violence." So of course we're going to have conflict. That's just a natural part of the human experiences, but we need to find ways to deal with that are not aggressive and violent. So thank you for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.